If you explain to us first what this condition is, how it manifests itself, how you can tell somebody's got it.
Okay. Yes, I mean, also I'd just like to echo our thoughts are with Fabrice Mondo and his family. Cardiomyopathy is basically a group of conditions which affect the heart muscle. They can present in various ways, either thickening of the heart muscle or the heart can become less able to pump effectively. The symptoms can vary in relation to severity and type, so there can be a whole range of the way the conditions present. They are associated, sadly, with sudden death of young people. The numbers associated with this are thankfully relatively small, but of course one is one too many, so that is a factor that is a major issue.
Is anyone susceptible?
Well, they generally, for the most part, are conditions which are passed on through families. Not all, but certainly there is a high preponderance of that. But we don't know all people that are affected. Generally, you're having to respond to symptoms. So certainly, if you have, for instance, if a young person was having fainting without any known cause, then that would be something which should be followed up by a specialist cardiac clinic.
Mitchell, you played West Ham, Norwich. How and when was your condition picked up?
Mine was picked up through routine screening the FA do, sort of 16 years old before you go on to your scholarship. So mine was noted then, but I was pulled up a year later, sort of sent for test. I was stopped completely playing football at West Ham. They stopped me from playing any sort of football, and I spent a year doing tests. And after a year, they still wasn't no close to whether I could play or not. So mutually, I agreed to leave, sort of we parted ways. I then carried on playing. I went back into football at a low level because the game's so hard to leave. I only ever wanted to be a professional footballer, and I managed to get another 8 years out of the game before being forced into retirement last year.
Did you ever feel ill? Did you ever notice that you had this condition, or was it just there and never affected you?
I never had any of the symptoms that are described with the condition, but I was always sort of dizziness, fainting, palpitations of your heart. But I was sort of... Sorry, I've lost your question, sorry.
Did you ever feel like you had a heart problem?
No, I didn't. I was always a little bit less fit than everyone else, which I was really aware of. I was at the back behind the keepers, which is a little bit embarrassing as a footballer. But other than that, no.
How did you feel yesterday, your family as well, when you heard what had happened on the pitch there?
I was watching it down at my local football club. I was watching the game on the telly there, and I was in shock. I was just watching it, feeling for his family, watching and what can be done. I felt the worst, and I phoned my wife afterwards, and she got quite tearful on the phone. And it's always really distressing for she looks at it from the point, and sort of my mum does, of that could have happened to me. I've been one of the really lucky ones that I've come out of the sport and I'm still okay at the minute, and hopefully Fabrice will be the same. One
quick word finally from Robert. I mean, Mitchell's condition was picked up because of the Football Association, because these tests are done. Are enough tests done on not professional athletes, on the general population? Is enough done to pick up these things?
Well, it's a difficult situation, because whether this means we should move forward to screening a huge number of people there are various views on that. I think we also have to bear in mind that situations like this are not only associated with exercise, they can happen where people are at rest. And at the other end of the scale, we also need to recognise, and there are many people watching this, that there are many people living their lives quite normally with this condition. So cardiomyopathy has a very wide range in which it can present, and that needs to be reflected in how people are treated.
Robert, thank you for talking to us. Mitchell, thanks for sharing your experiences too. Thank you both.